Y'all will join us in the invocation for our God of Texas. Okay, item 4 on our agenda is citizen communications. This is citizens' opportunity to address the council on any topic.
Certain spots and in our neighborhoods, and actually think it's a good idea to start sooner rather than later.
Okay, I will defer to the city manager. He has the details on that, I'm sure.
I'm sure glad you brought that up. We have in fact reached out to the company that has provided our spraying services in the past. There are some new state regulations for their licensing, and we are asking them that once that is secured, that the city is able to secure 2 dates for spraying. We know we're going to need one as soon as the sun comes out and stays out, then one later in the summer months.
Thanks for the question. We appreciate it.
When I called 3 years ago because of the flooding in front of our house, which is perpetual, non-stop, habitual, at least 6 months a year, I can't leave my property without walking through water. One of the problems, people don't want to come visit because they're going to have to come walk through water to come to our house. But if you, anything you can do to help, my neighbors and I would be so pleased. I mean, 6 months a year, there's standing water on your road in front of my house. There's no way you can blame this on any of the residents. We had nothing to do with this.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, and I understand that once the water drains, then you're left with mud. Expense is considerable, so your timing here is good because we're in a budget planning session, so this is not something that we have on this year's budget, but we can talk about getting it into next year. So.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and City Council members, for allowing me to speak tonight. My name is Janine Lane and I reside at 486 South Waco Street. I realize not everyone, in addition to working a full-time job with a 1-hour commute each way, is a part-time student, college student, is the primary caregiver for their aging father, and the legal guardian for 2 of their grandchildren with chronic medical conditions, such as the 10-year-old grandson who has an inoperable brain tumor, all while battling their own chronic health conditions, part of which were caused by being the innocent victim of a drive-by shooting. But while your lives may not mirror mine, I'm fairly certain yours are just as busy. When meetings are scheduled for certain days of each month, 2nd Tuesdays, 3rd Wednesdays, etc., it is easy to place these dates on our calendars. Generally speaking, knowing a meeting is scheduled to take place makes it easy on those of us with busy schedules. I'm sure you will all agree. Unfortunately, in April, the Planning and Zoning meeting was moved, unbeknownst to me, from the regularly scheduled 3rd Wednesday of the month to the Tuesday before it. The agenda was posted on the Friday prior to the meeting. Should we as citizens have to check every day to see what is posted? Fast forward to May, and the portal calendar showed city council meetings listed on the calendar for May 23rd and May 30th. Even though our family was in the midst of a family emergency, I made my way to City Hall for the meeting on the 23rd, only to find the doors locked. I am trying very hard to be an active citizen and not just involved when something going on within the city of Van Alstyne rubs me the wrong way. I would suggest that there has to be a better way to communicate with the citizens of VA. I have found that some cities have an option on the city's website to allow citizens to sign up to receive text or email reminders of regularly scheduled meetings and alerts when a special called meeting is to take place. Until a solution is in place, I implore you to please do better. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lane. Appreciate your comments. Item 5 on our agenda is oath of office. So we had 3 council members recently re-elected, and so now is the time to administer their oaths, although I will tell you that we've met legal deadlines in May. This is our first council meeting on a regularly scheduled night since we got the results back.
In the name and by the authority of the state of Texas,
in the name and by the authority of the state of Texas,
I state your name,
I, Brian Jones,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office
that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office
of City Council Place,
of City Council Place,
Van Alstyne,
Van Alstyne,
of the state of Texas,
of the state of Texas,
and will do the best of my ability
and will do the best of my ability
to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution
to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution,
and laws of the United States and of this state, so help me God.
laws of the United States and of this state, so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
If there's no objection, I would like to move to executive session and consider some other items that we can get through here before we go back into executive session. So if no one on council objects to that, hearing no objection, so ordered.
Well, thank you, Mayor and Council, for having me here today. My name is Natalie Moore with David Pettit Economic Development out of Fort Worth. You may recall, some of you that were on council at that time, I was here in February to discuss the concept of tax increment financing, and then I came again in May to talk about the progress that we had made on the concept to that point. And I think you'll see some updates today that hopefully reflect your desired outcome from that conversation. So today, for the purpose of the public hearing, I will speak to the concept of tax increment financing. I'll be quick on that since we have kind of discussed that before. But yes, so Salina has one, Sherman has one. I used to work for the city of Fort Worth. They have 15. Pretty much every city usually has at least one. The first choice is typically a lot of times in the historic downtown area. So almost, I don't want to say every single city, but it's a very commonly used one.
I would right. You know, all those things that we really want, but we also don't want to bring in 10,000 homes. I'll second the motion.
Got a motion and a second to approve TERS reinvestment zone number 1 for the city of Alstyne. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, it's time to vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed or abstaining? That motion carries 7 votes to 0. Thank you very much.
Processes, the plating, the site review, the things like that, that will not go to the TERS, that will remain the city power.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate the clarification.
One more comment.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Wilkins, is the current intent of creation of the TERS is the Robin Hood theory. We're taking the area that will develop with new development. We want to take that TERS money and reinvest it back into our older community, which may help us finance the ultimate drainage solution that's being asked for.
Thank you, sir. Okay. I would like to nominate Lee Thomas to be our mayor pro tem. A motion and a second to nominate Lee. Is there any further discussion? All in favor of appointing Lee Thomas mayor pro tem, please say aye.
Yeah, this is phase 4 of the Van Alstyne shared use path, which runs from Newport Drive, up Waco Street, and then over to Hines Park down Umpus Drive. This was the phase 4 where we got funding for 80% TxDOT and federal money. So the city will have a 20% participation. This is the first step to get the advanced funding agreement in place with TxDOT so that they'll manage and design and construct the project.
Mayor, Council, this is a request for a subdivision waiver for Saddlebrook Phase 5. As you can see on this slide, located on the south side of FM 121, just west of Durham. This is a later phase of an existing subdivision, as you stated in the city's ETJ, located in the county. The city did receive a subdivision plat for this phase of the subdivision a couple months ago. It's 81 acres. At the time we received the plat, it was 54 lots, each being a minimum of 1 acre. During plan review, the plat was sent to TxDOT, and TxDOT identified a couple necessary right-of-way dedications that were needed. So through the review, the applicant was asked to dedicate 60 feet of right-of-way in the immediate on the south side of FM 121. TxDOT also requested an additional 115 feet of right-of-way reservation for future potential expansion of FM 121 in the future. So with that requirement for right-of-way reservation, the applicant, who's in attendance this evening, had to do some redesign, and several of the lots were rendered less than 1 acre. The city subdivision ordinance does require a minimum of 1 acre, and so that obligates this request this evening.
Seeing no one seeking recognition from the public, I would ask for a motion. Got a motion and a second from Marva on item 18. Please say aye. Aye. Anyone have questions on the request or the acknowledgement that we have received these requests to move out of the ETJ?
Just to be clear on what this item is doing and what this item is not doing, this item is merely acknowledging and probably more important, memorializing that the city has received these requests. If the city does not, under the new, if someone makes an application, a valid application that meets all the requirements, to be removed from the ETJ. If the city does not act on that within 45 days, then it is de-annexed by operation of law. What we're wrestling with, because this is relatively new, is if someone sends something in, how 20 years from now, how is the city and the landowners who may have changed going to have something memorialized in the city's records that these things were done? So in
10 or 12 other cities in suing the state of Texas, citing that the removal from the city's ETJ may be unconstitutional, and that's being heard presently.
Yeah, I have a resolution of the city council to accept petition by a landowner to voluntarily annex on approximately 16.4 acres tract of land generally located on the east side of State Highway 5, Waco Street from Blythe Street to Spence Road.
Each of those resolutions this evening is essentially required by state law in order to set the date of the public hearing, which would be for July 9th. So this particular item, we've received a request to annex this 16.6 acres.
Amending Chapter 4 of the City of Van Alstyne's Code of Ordinances by revising Section 4-23 in order to comply with the allowed municipal fees for alcoholic beverage applications as published by TABC.
Okay, Mayor and Council, items 11 and 12 are companion items. They're prompted by a change in the Texas Alcoholic Beverage Code, specifically in House Bill 1545 that was just enacted.
Just because the TABC says we can charge $1,000 doesn't mean we should. So how are we gonna know what that's gonna be then?
Yeah, so the TABC now has this chart that's basically the current chart as of now. So it shows, for example, this winery, the max fee is 75, this one is 175, the state fee, and they show the state fee and your local fee.
If I highlight just our water towers proceeding ahead of schedule, you should be seeing the tank itself elevated on top of the pedestal in July. City working with TxDOT has acquired the property for the right-hand turn lane off the frontage road on the southeast corner of Henry Heights. A recreation center is moving along. We did initiate the disinfection process for our water treatment. As you all know, our splash pad was damaged. Those required 3 to 5 weeks. All hands patch, fill, and repair. On roadways, we've got Wolfpack contracted to come in and patch 15 locations in our city in the next 10 days.
Bolt it down and have it hanging over the street. But it is one of those things that is of importance from a safety point of view.
And this still wasn't a surprise.
Well, there's that too, yeah. Okay, thank you, Lane, which is good. I would just also, we have a couple P&Z members in the audience. Thank you for all of your work. Also volunteers for the city, so thanks very much. I know you guys are staying very busy these days with full agendas. So thanks for that, and to all of our city volunteers. And with that, I think I am done, and would entertain a motion to adjourn. Second. Got a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? We are adjourned.